Online gambling is the future, and it's gonna make me rich. You see, I just dropped $6,000 on this fight I'm about to win.
It's a scam.
Computer, please. I only gamble at the organic fights, and this is a reputable source. It had pay-per-view and everything.
That's a poster of 2 sheets of paper.
Yeah. Pay-per-view. It's 2 sheets of paper fighting, and believe me, I think I played enough Photo Dojo to know who's gonna win. This game. Oh man, the memories. You see, my parents were lucky enough to give birth to a child that sent them into poverty with how much shit that I liked. I grew up on every generation of the DS, from the fat one all the way to the 2DS XL. However, within that lineup, there was a DS that stood out like a sore thumb. I had the XL version because I lent the small-sized one to my sister and then proceeded to never see it again. However, that doesn't change the fact that I hold very fond memories with the DSi. It was a great device that, if I wanted to, I could talk very in-depth about. However, I'm here for only one small part of the DSi's legacy. Photo Dojo was a small game developed by Nintendo. Released in 2010, the game was made and sold as DSiWare. It was just like WiiWare, a place to download little bite-sized games made by both indie and AAA developers. Unlike WiiWare games, DSi games were smaller in size, and they had the advantage of being taken on the go and utilizing the DSi special hardware, like the cameras and touchscreen. Games on this service were also much cheaper than the WiiWare titles, and although the DSi shop is no longer available, every DSiWare game was brought to the Nintendo 3DS eShop, and they can still be purchased up until the shop closes in 2023. Ah, sick! I love it when companies shut down the only store to buy very specific games from and don't offer another place to download them for archival purposes. It's just, it makes so much sense. It's a sad fact of life, but let's play the game while we still can. I got some time before the paper match starts. You know, for a game titled Photo Dojo, I gotta say, this music is just absolutely not fitting at all. Sir, we still need some kind of music for that Photo Dojo game. I was thinking something Japanese inspired because of the whole dojo gimmick we're going for. Use a bunch of horns, make it sound like a circus. You're a fucking genius. On the title screen, we are presented 2 options, make a fighter and head into battle. But wait! Head into battle is grayed out. It won't let me no matter how many times I beg and bleed. That is because this game requires you to make your own characters. That's where the word photo in the title comes in. You see, we're taking pictures of people to battle. The game uses the DSi's front and back camera in order to take pictures of you posing to make a character. This is honestly a neat idea. It's just too damn bad they decided to give the most pain-inducing poses. I thought this was a video game, not yoga. While there are some pictures you get free range with, most of them you have to do a pose in a very specific way. And if you're like me and want to perfect the form of the Photo Dojo, well then say hello to early onset arthritis. This game was really not meant for older people. I remember not having too much trouble with these poses when I was younger, but now, going back at this as an adult, I can feel my bones cracking with every pose I do. Not only that, but the way the DS must be placed is kind of awkward. Instead of just flipping it up and having it sit like that, you instead prop it up sideways and just pray that it doesn't fall. I understand why it's like this though, because the DSi's cameras used to be in the hinge, but I'm playing on a 3DS now, and this is just freaking atrocious. It also has to be a good enough distance away in order to see your full body, but that's easier said than done. If you're taking these pictures by yourself, you have to set up a timer and hope you can make the pose fast enough. Oh, my spleen! Now, the experience is much easier if you're taking photos of somebody else. While I might be lonely and smelly, you don't technically have to take a picture of a person. I mean, look here, I'm taking photos of my desk for a fighter because the thing was just too damn expensive to actually punch. People have also gone to create characters using an official Photo Dojo template. This template used to be offered on the Japanese Nintendo website, and someone even translated it to English. There are a ton of characters you can find just by searching them up, but making your own is also really fun. Look, computer, I even made you as a fighter.
Now I can finally beat the crap out of you.
Why is that something you want to do? Now, not only are you taking pictures of the fighters, but you're also recording voice lines. This has to be the best part about Photo Dojo because the quality of the sounds are just beautiful. The best part is when the microphone barely picks up what you said. I never get tired of that. And then finally, you take a picture that will be the stage, and when you're all ready, you get to fight in the dojo. It's just like how these 2 sheets of paper are about to fight to the death. Come on, cart stop, bring all the money! There are 2 modes you get to play, single player and versus battle. And I'll go over the single player mode first since I'm a little loner boy. And it is not by choice.
You didn't have to say that.
You select your characters and are put into a scrolling stage where you have to fight off all these hideous monstrosities you created. The goal is to defeat 100 enemies, and if you do so, you get the credits. That's not true. You also get ranked and a bonus soundtrack. The ranking's weird. It goes off by your time and your health. However, the health seems like the only thing that takes into consideration. I was left with 18 health points, therefore 18 points altogether. That's a D. Perfect math. Makes sense. It's just like the school educational system.
You're giving me a C- just because I broke my arm?
They throw in some variety in there though, with big gigantic Minecraft steeds.
And little tiny fighters, look how cute they are.
Depending on who you play as, your moveset might actually be different. When creating your character, you are presented with 4 different fighting styles. The only difference between the 4 are the ducking attack. The ducking attacks are actually different between each fighter, and it offers just a little bit of variety when creating your characters. It makes it so not every character is the same. However, what if I told you the ducking attack wasn't the only attack that changed? You see, I lied and you should feel cheated, because what's also changed is the last resort attack.
A last resort attack is when you are low on help. You can do a really powerful move. I mean, it's no different than how they do it in this fight. Oh shit, this is heating up.
These deal out a lot of damage and can be only used once. They only appear once you get to a certain level of health and are meant to be a last resort, hence the name. While it's not a huge difference between the 4 options, it's literally just 2 moves, the fact that there's a difference at all is really neat. It makes you think just a tiny little bit when creating your character. Do you want to attack long range or do you want trauma to the head?
Trauma to the head does actually sound nice, but no, I'm not gonna get that anytime soon because my sheet of paper is about to win, baby. No!
The multiplayer is kind of janky. There is no option for download play. Instead, you have to share one device. The person on the left uses the D-pad and L button to attack, while the person on the right uses the face buttons and R button. You see, this works on paper, but when you're really getting into a game, it becomes less of a virtual fight and more of a fight on who's getting the console more, constantly tugging and pulling between the 2 ends.
But let's be honest with ourselves here. They put way more effort into the creation of the fighters rather than the versus matches and single player content of the game. And while I personally wish there was just a little bit more to do within the game, either way, it's still a cool concept.
I mean, even looking past the fact that it was a DSiWare game, Photo Dojo feels like a tech demo for a bigger game. I can totally see these concepts and ideas being put into a bigger game that's fully expanded upon. The full package title of Photo Dojo, Adventures of the Stapler or whatever. Sadly, that isn't what this is. Someone at Nintendo probably made this in their off time and decided to put it up on the DSi shop for the fun of it. But this kind of thing doesn't really happen anymore. It seems like the DSi and Wii were the only times we got small games like this, and there are a bunch more I can talk about, but Photo Dojo was one that I think everyone has heard about, and we can all agree. This was one of the best games to buy on the DSi shop.
I really do wish I can go back to a time like this, back when Nintendo made little stupid games like this and they were fun and they were cheap. I do think Photo Dojo could still be a AAA full-fledged game, but I mean, that's not gonna happen. The 3DS was discontinued a while back, and the eShop's on its way out too. So if you have a 3DS, do yourself a favor and buy this game. Buy any DSiWare game you think might fancy you, because soon enough, you won't be able to anymore. Just like how I don't have $6,000 anymore. And you know there's only one sensible thing to do after that. I forgot about the doctor that gave me the cure to car crashes. Now I'm broke and don't have a car to drive. But at least I have Flipnote Studio!